Welcome to the Self Improvement Podcast, where we help you to manage your life and your student life better, whether you're in high school or even a freshman in college. I'm your host, Ian.
And my name is Dalton. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about procrastination and how that negatively impacts not only your education, your life as well.
Yeah, and I feel like we all experience that um, in different levels with personal goals or goals at school. And if I were to go back in time and give myself some sort of advice, I would say find a way to look at the bigger picture and tie your habits as a student to the habits that you're going to have after you graduate. Because if you're anything like me right now, you had a vision for yourself, or at least a glimpse. I didn't have it wasn't as clear as it is now, but if you have a glimpse of what you want to do, of that vision, try to exploit that as much as possible. And when you use that to motivate yourself to learn how to manage your time and to spread out your workload over a period of time, that's actually going to serve you with your future. So forget that you have to do it for a class. That doesn't matter. It's not the class. That's what I would tell myself. It's not the class that matters. It's how you carry yourself and manage your life that is what you're gonna benefit from the most.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about thinking about how it's going to affect you long term. And that has to do with delayed gratification and instant gratification. Yeah, it may feel nice to play a video game instead of doing your homework, or hang out with friends instead of studying for a test. And you may be watching a Netflix episode and, oh yeah, I'm really enjoying this Netflix episode, so I'm just gonna watch one more and then I'll do my homework. And then you finish that episode, oh, just one more, I have time, one more. And you finish that episode, and then another, and then another, and then it comes time where you don't have the time to do that homework assignment, or you're tired and you don't feel like doing that homework assignment even more now. So
if you were to go back and confront yourself doing that, and I'm not assuming that you've done that.
I did.
Maybe you did.
I did. I'd rather play a video game than do a homework assignment. I'll tell you that right now. Especially back when I was in school. I did do that.
What would you tell Dalton back then?
What would I tell myself back when I would procrastinate and distract myself with bad habits? I would say, look, video games will always be here. And, it may be fun right now. In 10 years, all I'm doing is playing video games. I'm not going to get anywhere with my life. This homework assignment, this is here and now. I'm not going to have the time to do my homework 10 years from now that I will to play video games. It's like people say there's a time and a place, and there is. If you're in school, you should be doing your classwork when your teacher assigns your classwork. When you're at home after school and you have the time, you should do that. And it's like you said, Ian, with looking at the future with that delayed gratification. Playing video games or watching Netflix or hanging out with your friends, yeah, it's a good time. How's it going to benefit you?
Yeah. So now we know what to do, but how do you get yourself out of that complacency?
Hmm.
Is the question. And because I would say I got an early start in personal development than most people, because I knew I needed something like it. I didn't know what to call it. I just researched things that I was feeling or that I was struggling to do, and it came up, thanks to the internet. It's one of the great things about it. And the first exercise I came across that has helped me in the past is something called the Sedona method. The Sedona method sounds like a mysterious, like hidden exercise that no one talks about, but it's very simple.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, there you go. The Sedona method is designed to help you overcome what we call resistance. Because the reason you procrastinate is because you're resisting something. You're resisting the thing you're supposed to do, and it's stopping you from doing it. 4 questions total. The first question is, can I allow myself to feel this resistance? So you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden you remember, oh, I gotta do this assignment, or oh, I gotta go do these chores. And your job in that moment in time is to notice you not wanting to do it, like that resistance. So ask yourself, can I allow myself to feel this resistance? If the answer is no, ask yourself again until the answer is yes. And then just sit there for a second, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Just zone out, focus on that feeling. Don't try to change it or do anything about it, just observe it. And now you felt it, now it's in your awareness. How would you put this in your own words, Don?
Well, the anticipation of a task is usually worse than actually doing it. That's something that I've noticed. That's not putting it in my own words, that's just...
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
The anticipation.
Yeah,
because
so...
thinking is thinking is literally like resistance.
Yep. Yeah, and especially when you have procrastinated something, and then you're worrying about how much work you're gonna have to do to catch up, and that's the worst part. And I've done that, or I didn't do a homework assignment, didn't do a homework assignment, and it all built up. So you don't want that to happen. And when you actually just sit down, if you have to do some homework, just find a quiet place where you're not gonna be distracted. Place of habit. That's what I would call it. It becomes a place of habit. So not in your bed, because you sleep in your bed. You don't want to fall asleep instead of doing your homework. Maybe a desk in a quiet place, and sit down for a moment. Set a time. Maybe set a timer as well. Pull out that math assignment, that English paper, and put a timer for 15 minutes or 30 minutes or however long you'd like. And every time that timer goes off, stop. Stop doing the homework. You can walk around, you can grab a snack, and then come back, and then start doing the homework again.
How long should the timer be again?
Whatever works for you. It shouldn't be so long that, the homework feels like it's really dragging on. And it also shouldn't be too short. 5 minutes is not enough time to work on your homework.
Unless you have a really bad case of procrastination, then maybe.
Yeah.
But he's right, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what they say?
What's that?
It takes 10 minutes to get in flow of doing anything.
Okay.
So
So yeah, maybe you know what, I'm gonna set a recommendation for you guys. 45 minutes.
Oh, I was gonna say 15, but 45, 30. There's something called the Pomodoro technique
What's that?
or Pomodoro technique. Basically, like scientifically, they found out that you can have a 25-minute timer and then take a break for 5 minutes, come back for another 25,
Mm.
and you do like 4 rounds of 25 minutes of work,
Mm.
and then after that, then you can take a longer break, like a half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Look that up. Look into it, guys.
If
But,
if
yeah.
you have the time for that, you should do that. And that's another thing.
Adjust it for you.
Adjust it for you, and don't. I hate to say this in a negative way, but let your schedule have free time in it. No, it's great to to be a part of these clubs. Like for me, I remember I had to do chores, right? And I was in band, and we're always rehearsing or doing events, and then I had a job too, and I was trying to make some room for friends as well. And so I didn't have that time for my homework. So allow yourself some time, some leniency time. That's what I'll call it.
But I want to circle back to the Sedona methods because it's 4 questions. We only covered one.
Mm.
Can I allow myself to feel this resistance? And then you allow yourself. We already talked about that. Then the next question is, let me remember. Could I let this go? And then you ask it again. Could I let this go in theory? Yes. Would I let this go? Yes, I would. When will I let it go? Right now. And then you do this, I recommend 3 or 4 times.
What does that mean, let it go?
Like this emotion, let it go, like not let it dictate your decisions or not giving it so much power. Like acting in spite of it. Not doing anything to it, but being okay with it and just letting it be and letting it go. It's kind of like letting it be, except it's like more active, I would say, because it's a process where you're like, can I allow myself to feel it? Okay, great. I know what this is now because I have awareness. Could I let it go in theory? Okay, now you're getting like a little more comfortable with the idea of not it being a thing anymore. Would I let it go? When will I let it go? It's very interesting. It's one of those tools. There's a lot more. But yeah, it can work on a lot of stuff. Another thing, and this is more tricky, this kind of ties in with purpose, and I was speaking to Dalton about this before we started recording, which is having a vision, crafting it, putting it into visuals, and looking at it multiple times a day, consistently. Literally takes maybe 30 seconds of your time, but it can be like the spine of your drive, if that makes sense. It can be the foundation. We'll talk more about that in purpose, which I think is the next pillar, right? Next season.
It is the next pillar.
Nice, nice. We got, what is this? Episode 8 of the first season.
Yes.
I'm doing some math. We got 4 more, 4 more episodes. Yeah, we were revisiting and recalculating where we are. It took me longer to do that than Dalton, and I feel kind of embarrassed.
So back on to this procrastination topic is it's easy, especially nowadays, to distract ourselves. We have these handheld devices. No matter where you are, you can give yourself something to do. You can distract yourself. You have TikTok, and you have Snapchat, and you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have all these social medias. And it can hinder your ability to get done what you need to get done in a timely manner. And I've struggled with this recently, actually. I try to make creative posts, and what I do is I distract myself and I waste my time on social medias. And so my friend Ian here made the recommendation that I set a time limit. So now I have a time limit on all my social media, and it's helped me with my time management immensely.
How'd you set that up?
Well, it depends on the type of phone you have. If you have an iPhone, all you got to do is go to settings, and then once you get to settings, go down to screen time, and then app limits. You can set a time limit for certain apps and websites as well.
If you have a Samsung phone, which is an Android, but it's kind of different because the user interface is different. But you can go into your settings and there's something called digital well-being, and then you can set a time limit on your apps from there. Pretty self-explanatory. If you're committed to this enough, I'm sure you're gonna Google it and you're gonna figure it out. That's one way to have more control over where you're spending your time. But yeah, like you said, knowing you can't tell your time what to do if you don't know where it's going in the first place. You can even journal at the end of the day, and you journal with the focus and intention of what did I do and how long did it take, and being honest about that.
Yeah, so in David Goggins' book Can't Hurt Me, he talks about AARs, which are after action reports.
Mm.
And basically, what you do is you go into your day and first you look at what went well, and then you look at what needs to be worked on. And so, for an example, I could say I went to school today, I came home, did some chores, started my math homework. Those are all good things. And then after that, okay, wasn't able to finish my math homework, went on TikTok, spent 2 hours, went to sleep. And then you can see physically in front of you what you can work on.
You can even do this with a friend, out of like what we're doing with our mini mastermind, where we reflect on every week, we reflect on what went well and what we need to work on, and then we set our intentions and goals for the upcoming week. You know, personal goals, education, wellness, just getting super specific, and knowing ahead of time where you want your time to go towards. And with that, you should have plenty of tools. Dylan, do you have any final thoughts and comments?
No, I think we did a pretty good job of summing up what you can do to eliminate procrastination as much as possible. You know, having a plan, understanding the benefits of delayed gratification, that method you were talking about. So when you feel that resistance, you can feel it and let it go.
Recognize it and then deal with it.
Because ultimately, you want to be happy, right? You want your life to be successful, I'd imagine. And so, think about how you're going to do that. Is procrastinating going to bring you closer to your ideal future, or is putting in the work and doing the things you need to do when you need to do them? And there's always going to be time for you to enjoy life, to do the things you want to do. You can play those video games. You can watch Netflix. You can hang out with friends. As long as you are managing your time and not procrastinating what you should be prioritizing. So with that, thank you guys for coming to the podcast. I hope you learned something new that you can use in your life and get better and improve. We'll see you next week.